I'm pretty confident with the group we have. Haven't really looked too much at the North, to be honest. So once we got through, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really. We know that it's going to be, if it's anything like Super Rugby Aotearoa, it's going to be what probably just a little bit of a step up maybe from that. But our job is to sort of just get these boys and try and get that week going as best we can for them, I suppose, and they'll probably lead a lot of that.
What do you cook up in a week? Like, I guess you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really do, this is a massive big game plan for the next 12 games. So what do you, like, what's the idea when you've got like a 1 week window to cook up a plan to win a game?
Yeah, I think, if you look back at tours and things like that, and that's probably where you get your experience from a little bit. But in some, like you say, one off, it's really just to see where the players are at. And it's been it's been a pretty big campaign for them. Week in, week out, it's been pretty tough. So I know Plum and Stormy will be chomping at the bit as well. And I think part of it is making sure the players enjoy that week. So that's probably the first and foremost. And then we build the week as it fits, and we have some ideas around structure. We obviously have to have the trainings planned and what we're doing, and all the rest of it. But around that, we've got some really good guys in both squads that will lead a lot of that as well. And we'll kind of work with them on that and drive that, and it gives us a chance to see how they work and how they operate as well.
Yeah. What about with the players that that you've got? You must look around them and go, I mean, what else do I need to teach them? Is that kind of how you feel at stages when you? I mean, the higher the grade, the players must come fairly highly qualified as well.
Yeah, and I think the questions you get asked are the best ones, from those sorts of guys, because they wouldn't be asking if they didn't want to know it, and it'll be a challenging question. And sometimes for us, it's a matter of, like, how do you make the complicated simple, and trying to and simplify those messages down and get excitement. And also for me is to take all the stress out of it, so they're not having to worry about too much. So in this day and age, that's probably what it's about. And in the climate we're in, is probably more applicable as well, So coming back to why we love the game and why people watch it, why we used to get up early and do it, and why people have been going along to games recently and nearly filling stadiums, grabbing hold of that and getting inspired by that,
Yeah, I mean, you spent an awesome period of time away where, you were around that Ireland team where you had guys come through like, Furlong and just incredible props like that, where I remember thinking like, oh man, Ireland's got props that can ball handle now and do that. And everyone thinks prop, big guy, scrum. What are modern props doing now that you look at and go, this is the overall product of what that player is?
Yeah, well, that's the challenge for them. The whole tight five, whether you're 130 kgs and 6'2" or 120 kgs and 6'7", you have to be able to have all the skills and make meters, I suppose, meter, and then be able to do a close skill like scrummaging and still mentally and physically be up to it. So, it's probably it's come along a long way in that aspect, and I think that's what's when you've got guys that can do that, and then outside them you've got Damien McKenzie or Bowden Barrett or George Bridge, Will Jordan, those guys running off them as well. It's exciting, for fans as well, and it's exciting. It's a good challenge for those players when you are built like that to have to develop these other skills. And I think the footwork stuff and putting big hits on and being delicate with passes is definitely a skill. So, yeah.
I mean, you've obviously had some time to watch, be involved with the Super Rugby Aotearoa and see what the style is and where it's going to. Something like this, though, the North versus South, where fans get that one-off look of everything. Have you kind of felt like there's a festive atmosphere and the players themselves are feeling up for this? It's kind of a bit of fun, yet there's some real stakes on the line.
Yeah, I think, you pretty much hit the nail on the head in terms of, there'll be the odd guy that is a little bit of an unknown as well. What is this? What's this about? Yeah. And that may be something that we can kind of help develop as well, and giving them a sense of identity around what this is about. But yeah, there is some excitement. I saw a couple of guys this morning floating about down in Christchurch, and they're there's a lot of energy there. And I think also having a couple of weeks off, getting into another big game and prepping them for that, just seeing that whole, being a part of that whole buzz, is I'm pretty privileged, to be fair. And to add to what you said, is really that's it in a nutshell, to be fair.
Just show them the last game, because that's one of the last games I remember there was actually a fight in, like a fair income one with, like, not the you're kidding, like an actual punch in the face. And I remember thinking, like, oh, here we go, there's a bit of that, because I don't think we make enough of North-South, we should make more of it. Yeah,
I don't think I'll be promoting that sort of carry on.
No, of course not.
I still remember the lady in the crowd yelling, there's kids here, and that kind of as a real reminder, what this is about, and sometimes I think using our physicality in a legal and exciting way, is where the modern game's going. And I think that's going back to what you said about the big boys too, like the refereeing, obviously, and how World Rugby and how we want the game played, there's a lot of player care now. So you've got guys wanting to smash them, which you can, but you have to do it legally and you have to do it with good technique. So those are the things as well that are exciting as a coach, but the challenge for everybody as well.
It's the ultimate in scrap stoppers, isn't it? The old lady who's got kids near her who goes, "There's kids here." Every man goes, "All right."
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're almost halfway through it. You stop. Oh, what am I doing?
What am I doing? What an animal. What have I become?
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
Did you kids see the restraint I just showed? See? That was a lesson.
Yeah, look and learn. Just a question. I love that your tag down the bottom that says your name. It's Feek. Feek, is that a nickname that you've got? Can you take us through some of the nicknames that have evolved during your career, and who's usually given them to you? Feek.
Oh Jesus! There's heat. It's funny. There's all sorts of carry on there, but I just saw that myself, and it was probably because when someone's trying to tap into your phone or you're trying to do stuff, I just thought, well, I'll just call my phone that. Do you know what I mean?
That's what it'll be. You nicknamed yourself Feeky from now on.
Yeah. And if I lose myself, I know where I am.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I could write a list on that, and that's probably one of the fun things about being in groups. Is actually one thing I like to do is come up with little nicknames for people. But some of those are within the environment. But good. It's good fun. That's what we'll enjoy, and hopefully, if I get to know you guys a bit more, I might be able to come up with a couple for you.
Yeah, do it.
Yep, right.
You must be proud of some nickname though that you've given someone that now has stuck and everyone else has called it, or have you not laid claim to saying, well, that was me? Remember?
No, there is. Even in Ireland, there's our media guy, nicknamed him Circus. His last name was an Irish name, O'Shearcon, and I managed to kind of get Joe Schmidt saying it in front of the whole team, so everyone started calling Circus. It was too much of a mouthful anyway, so that was probably one straight off the top of my head. There's things, back at school days even as well, but even for me, there's probably a few floating about that I think I've said before. I remember when I was a young fella in Taranaki, even Smiley Barrett came out with one for me, so there's all sorts that go on over the years. That you remember and enjoy.
So I was just thinking, right, like it's interesting. We get to see lots of old games on telly and stuff, and it's real weird. You watch those old 1980s Scrum set; they just show up, boom, and you're away, and then you go. And I was thinking as I was watching the games at Eden Park the other week, I thought it's interesting. The bit that really takes a long time is the super deliberate setup of the Scrum. Can you explain to us number one, why it's so super deliberate, and number two, is there any way that could go quicker?
Yeah, no, I think we've actually talked about that as coaches and referees. We've actually said, hang on, we're actually getting to a point now where it's almost like a break for everybody. Knock on Scrum. Oh, right, let's go and walk over and get the move and have a chat and sort of say, hey, how's things going, and reset a little bit. So. I don't know if you noticed, but in the recent Super Rugby, they actually did try to speed that process up, and actually get there and get the call in a bit quicker. And I think it wasn't actually anyone's conscious thing. And then once you are there, players have a routine, a process that they go through, but it shouldn't take 50 seconds or whatever to do. But there is a deliberate period of time when they get to that point and go, righto, that's a bit like a golfer, I suppose, individually. He sits there and goes through a routine. These boys will do that, and then you're into it, But there was a conscious effort for us coaches anyway to try and channel it through and say, hey, look, let's try and speed that up by 10 seconds,
Yeah. Because I think sometimes with, what used to happen when John Drake was calling games, where you were playing it and stuff, he just loved them. And so it was kind of like when I'm watching the UFC and Joe Rogan gets to the grappling bit and he's right into that and it makes it fascinating, right? And whereas now it's almost like they don't have any props on their commentary. So they go, oh, well, here we go, dark arts. Don't know what's going on in there, and then there's that big long gap. And I find that really frustrating. Like, I want somebody who loves it, telling me angles and telling me, what the whole point of being so compact is.
Yeah, well, let's maybe next time I see Marshy and Jeff Wilson and the boy Cully and that, we'll start giving them lessons. What do you reckon? Get pumped up about it. And they probably actually know more than they think and what they say, but they probably just don't want to get it wrong, But in the end of the day, as you know, have an opinion on it, like we all do in rugby, no matter what it is, that's all right, Doesn't and I think next time I see them, and then maybe we'll get you on there, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we'll do that. On it. All right. Yeah, I'm there.
And that'll be the last time we hear, all right, Scrum, dark arts, and then silence. There'll be a good description coming out. Anyway, Feeky, that's about all we've got time to to have with you. But thank you so much, and all the very, very best for the game. We'll be watching, and hopefully there's some Scrum breakdown on the commentary when we get to watch.
Yeah, I look forward to that.